This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Hello, welcome to King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I am Rusty.
And this garbage shot brought to you by A Terrible Week.
Woo!
I ended up, a buddy of mine, his dad died this week, and we ended up having to go to a viewing last night, and I produce a show live Friday mornings, and then I'm going to be out of town for Saturday and Sunday, so it was George Clooney's Perfect Storm, and we didn't get around to Season 8, Episode 2, but we will do that this next week. I plan to get ahead on my notes, and so we won't have to do this again. But I appreciate y'all's
welcome
sticking with us.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Yep. And then we came in here, produced that show this morning. Everything went off without a hitch. We get in here to do Bois, and one of the cameras doesn't work. The board flakes out on us. I mean, it's been a calamity of errors.
Yeah, Artie, that episode
morning.
is the Skateboarding Jesus episode, right? That's the next one.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
I
I'm
like
pretty
that.
sure. Yeah,
That's a good
because
one.
Pastor K or whatever is voiced by Gene Simmons.
What's up? I was in a box.
And then there's like some kids in it that are in the group, and they're voiced by Sum 41, the band.
Does that mean we get to talk about Ace Frehley?
We could talk about Ace Frehley.
Yeah, Ace Frehley passed away this last week.
Yeah, we could speak freely about Ace.
Did
Frehley.
you? He was a star child.
Yes, he was. He's the one with the star.
Yeah, he was the second one, right? Peter Criss was number
I don't
one
know who
because he was the
born
cat,
first.
right? And
Are you talking
then
about
Ace
their birth
Frehley,
order?
right? What?
Are you talking about their birth order?
No, I'm talking about like the order they were in the band.
Oh, I thought they were all from the same womb.
Oh no, you're right. Ace Frehley was in the first. I don't know.
Are they from the same
They
womb?
went through so many of them. Yeah, all in the same womb.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just imagine this big 10-foot Amazonian woman just dropping them out of her uterus in the rainforest.
Gene Simmons was.
That's how I imagine Kiss was born.
But Ace Frehley was the star child, was he not?
Good morning, Star Child.
I don't know.
The Earth
I really
says,
thought he was.
Hello.
Now it's telling me that I don't have any
Star
power
Child.
on my laptop,
Yeah.
so that's cool. You guys stick with us for a second here. I'll be right back. Rusty's going to talk to you about King of the Hill.
Yeah, maybe about King of the Hill. All right, so King of the Hill has always been a show about food, believe it or not. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about King of the Hill's food show? We always hear stuff like fruit pie enthusiast, culinary risk taker Bobby over there with the lutefisk. Bobby with the lutefisk from Minnesota. And then what else did Bobby eat? Bobby ate fruit pies. Well, yeah, not just fruit pies. Oh yeah, we had a fan. There's a fan. Let me run real quick to the Instagram here. So there's a fan that's been tagging me in their daily activities as they're listening to King of the Hill. And one of the ones I got was I'm cooking up some hand pies. Is that what was that the language?
Yeah, gotcha.
Was the language used hand pies?
Hand pies.
Yeah, I think that's what this lady
Is that a pie made from a hand?
here called them. Let's see.
It really
here.
was always a food show, though. I mean, because there was so much food that was attached to that. I mean, even if you just take Hank's profession.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
she
all
sent me a
about
picture
grills.
of her dog who retrieved a empty beer can off the porch when a gust of wind blew it off. Let's see if I can forward this to you really quick, Mike.
She sent a picture of her dog
No, a video of her dog
when a can blew off.
when a can. You have access to the Rogue Media one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the one I'm sending it to then.
I have all the access to all the things, to all the
everything.
to all the stuff.
All right, well, I sent it to you. But, yeah, she sent me a picture of her
Oh,
dog,
there
which I thought was awesome. It's a video of her dog, which was cool. And then Gary Weber said, thanks for bringing the original King of the Hill series podcast back. So he was pleased with episode 8 or the season 8 coming back, and I'm sure this episode will disappoint him because we didn't continue on. And then we have this is what it is. It's the Hungry Girlfriend on YouTube or on Instagram. She tagged me, and in her hand she had a cherry fruit pie, and she said, "God dang fruit pies."
Oh yeah,
yeah, an Okie.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love for us to start getting more of those kind of things. Where
Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, where it's just people checking in. I would love that. Yep, Peggy and meatballs.
Oh, yeah, here's another
Frito
one.
pie, lutefisk, fruit pies.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, just steaks in general, hamburgers.
meat,
I mean, it was
yeah,
all
big
part
meat eaters.
of it. It was all part of it.
And then here's another one. Hey, Rusty and Mike. This is from, I don't think I read this one. This is from September. Hey, Rusty and Mike, I'm on season 3, episode 25 of y'all's podcast. I just wanted to message real quick and just say I love the podcast. And it helps me get through work.
Oh, thank you.
I am watching King of the Hill for the first time ever. Yeah, well, I did read this one, I'm pretty sure. And I watch a few episodes at home and then listen to the podcast at work. Well, I've already read that one, but appreciate you again, Ace. Thanks, bud. Yeah, I thought I
Ghetto
had some other
Cowboy
ones.
33.
Yeah, propane.
You're new,
propane accessories.
I believe. And thank you for being here. Chicken tartare, yeah, or as Cotton calls it, arsenic. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I feel like it was always a food show, and that does kind of go into what I had to talk about as well.
Yeah, they correlated. That's why I kind of wanted to add them together.
There's a good article in Time Magazine from August, and this is called "King of the Hills Bobby Was Never Meant to Grow Up." This is written by Judy Bergman, who is a TV critic for the Time Magazine.
Okay.
And basically, she talks about the new thing and how they came back from Saudi Arabia. She kind of does all the exposition to get us all set up here. Talking about John Redcorn, talking about Dale, all the antics, the Bush stuff, all of that stuff, and then she goes on to say that the Hills boy has now grown into an adult man he was never meant to be. Now, I don't know that I agree with all of this, but we're just going to kind of go through it and talk about it real quick. One reason we know how much time has passed in the alternate universe is the adult animation is that Bobby Hill, who is aged from 11 to 13, is now 21. Instead of going to college, he has pursued his passion for meat and become the chef and part owner of Dallas restaurant he describes as a traditional Japanese barbecue with a fusion of flavors and techniques from the German traditions of the Texas Hill Country. Last time the Germans and Japanese teamed up, I wasn't a fan, said one diner.
Which we've talked about the barbecue culture.
Yeah.
The barbecue culture has German roots. Texas is extremely German. At one point, Galveston was a huge port. So the history of the Galveston port thing. So Galveston was the port before Houston was the major port.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is a little more up into the bay. You got to go up into the bay to get to Houston. Galveston is a barrier island. Yeah. So Galveston used to be the big port of entry for immigrants too. It was the southern Ellis Island, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So everybody that was pouring into the south was pouring in through Galveston. And if you go and you look and you do the history on it, it's a shit ton of Germans. And if you look at a lot of central Texas, if you look at a lot of the hill country, really a good portion of Texas that is the Anglo part of Texas. If you look up and down I-35, even in San Antonio, you can find German influence. And stuff like that.
Absolutely. Sure.
The German influence. So when you talk about people who settled Texas, you had the original settlers, which they call the original 100 or whatever that came with Sam Houston. Yeah. They weren't the great population. They were the ones who just came here and said, well, we're going to take over Texas. But the greatest part of the population was Germans.
Right.
And not just Germans, but that German, Czech, Polish, that area there.
Eastern European.
Yeah, European.
So she says something about Bobby growing up, and then goes about the first episode where we see Bobby coming out of a dorm after he's spent the night with a girl there.
Yeah.
She says, what is Bobby doing on said campus? Exiting a dorm where he's just spent the night with a college girl who told him that their hookup was a one-time thing, sent him on his way. This moment is preceded by a cringe-worthy scene in which Peggy is awakened by her ringing cell phone. It's Bobby butt dial, all heavy breathing and moans. In theory, I am pleased for Bobby Hill. good for him. He can get it. But hearing him have sex, no thank you. So she is a little weirded out by the fact that Bobby is now sexually active. He's grown up.
He's a man.
And I can kind of understand that, I mean, because the last time we saw this kid, he was, hiking his pants up and saying things that came off of like vaudevillian acts from a million years ago.
Yeah, I actually watch silent films at work because I have a computer or whatever
and it's
where I
silent.
work at, and I don't have the computers don't have speakers.
Yeah.
So I could literally watch a movie and get something from it and not have to. I watch a lot of Buster Keaton.
So she talks about how Bobby became like the quintessential representation of preteens and teenagers and stuff in adult animation. It says it was pre-Tina Belcher, pre-Big Mouth, just a mess of curiosities and talents and delusions and hormones. And that's why Bobby was so popular, because he was so awkward, but yet he was okay with himself,
Yeah.
Now this new Bobby, he's not the same person. But if you want to read that article, like I said, it's in Time Magazine. It's from August, and the author's name is Judy Berman. So she's a little weirded out by the fact that Bobby's a grown-up man now, and he's having sex, and he's working, and he's not part of the... there's something to be said for the way The Simpsons does it, where no one ever ages, time never passes. Although they keep having Halloweens, there's never a year that goes by. So there's something to be said for that. But yes, Artie, that is real life. And King of the Hill has always been different in that it is not a cartoon, right? I would say that The Simpsons is more of a cartoon than King of the Hill is. King of the Hill has always felt like a slice of life dramedy to me. While it's very funny, there's a lot of really sweet, heartfelt moments in it. And if you're going to go that way with a show, then your characters are going to grow up. I mean, they're going to get older. They're going to have different problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only so much you can squeeze out of Bart riding a skateboard. There's only so much you can squeeze out of Bobby eating fruit pies and being awkward. He does have to grow up. And I think it was the only way to handle this, honestly. To be able to age these characters up gives us entirely new material. It gives us entirely new things that we can identify with, which is also a high mark for King of the Hill. We've always been able to identify with characters, situations, plot
the whole
lines.
Point of it's a slice of life.
It really is. And so if you're gonna love it for that, then you have to be willing to let these characters grow up and grow out, become different people.
Well, I think that's what's unique about like the approach that Mike Judge has taken to revivals, because he did the same thing with Beavis and Butthead. He made Beavis and Butthead,
which is crazy.
And it's crazy because it has to be more dynamic, I guess, for you, because Beavis and Butthead was more relevant to you at the time it came out than it was to me.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing them as portrayed as somebody that is similar to your age.
Yeah.
And it's like fresh to do that, because everybody else just, whenever they revive Futurama or any of these other things, nobody ages up or anything like that. It's just a continuation of what's already been going on. And I think that's what really made King of the Hill, the revival, so like good to me, is we got to explore different parts of these characters. So my whole, since 2009, since the show's been off the air, that's what I've thought about. Well, what are they doing? Well, like, what would Bobby be doing in today's age? What would Hank Hill? Where would Hank Hill be at right now? Where would Peggy be at? What would they be doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would Bill be dead? Would Bill be alive? Has Bill made it?
I love the fact that they're older.
So
I love
really
to hear about
it.
those things. Yeah,
well, it allows you to grow with the characters. Like when last time King of the Hill was on TV, I was 19 and I'm now 35. So it's like this whole life I've lived and experiences I've had now, and I get to relate all these experiences to these characters in a different way than I could as a teenager.
I was in the box as the show's always been based on reality, so it just makes sense, and it does make sense that they grow up. Is talking about Mike Judge with Beavis and Butthead. He had the perfect opportunity to just keep them the same age too, because would it have mattered? No,
it wouldn't have mattered at all.
But you can see the brilliance of Mike Judge in that, and let's talk about this for just a second. MTV is gone.
Gone.
It no longer exists.
They officially
they shut it
Rob
down.
Dyrdek bled them dry, and
Yep.
that was the end of it.
And they shut it down. So Beavis,
Literally, it was a cow. Just imagine a cow in a field that's just skin and bones, and
Yeah.
Rob Dyrdek's
Yeah.
down there just
Yeah.
yanking on the
yep,
teat,
still trying to get that milk
the
out.
last drop.
And, you know, the thing is, like, I never thought that Beavis and Butthead would outlast MTV. But had you not
It
changed their
did.
characters, had you not aged them up, well, I don't know that you could go with all the internet content they go with now.
Well, I was reading an article about MTV. Actually, it was somebody who was an executive or something at MTV at some point or another around the dawn of the digital age, and they were like, we tried to transition to the digital age, but the traditional media, because MTV was still a part of a traditional
Yeah.
media company
Yeah.
at the time, they didn't.
Viacom, right?
They underestimated the digital market, and they didn't adapt correctly.
Yeah.
They tried to adapt, but their adaptation wasn't very good. What they should have done is they should have done like what Vivo did for music videos on YouTube. Vivo cornered the market on, like, every major artist has a Vivo, where their VEVO or whatever it is, where the music videos go to. I'm sure anybody that's been on YouTube watching a music video knows what I'm talking about. So if MTV would have did something like that, where they could have cornered the distribution on the internet for music videos,
I just think you
They
go.
would've been all right. I
the
think they would've
last
survived.
gasp for me, and I think you see this with places like crazy places like Taco Bell. You know, Taco Bell going back to their 2K menu, their 90s menu, all of that kind of stuff. I think MTV could have used that and said, you know what, we're going back to our roots. We're showing nothing but music videos.
Yeah.
And it would have been cheap to do.
Yeah.
They could have had VJs come back on or guests and things and go back to the way they
Back to the
were.
format,
And I
yeah.
think people would have picked up on it, if nothing else, for nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I know I would have watched it just
Yeah, I would've
out of
watched it.
nostalgia's
I would have
sake.
watched it, yeah.
You have shows where you could show originals that were on MTV the first time, like Video Killed the Radio Star and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know? And that would have been a fun channel to watch. It would have been a party channel again that you turn on at a party, you turn on at your gatherings, and it's just good to watch because it's always different. About every 3 to 5 minutes, you're seeing something else.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy
Yes.
Netflix, but
Yes.
said no.
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
Absolutely.
Imagine that guy who has to go to bed
Yes.
every night,
Yes.
and his wife clicks on the Netflix app, and he's got to hear the ta-dum.
Nostalgia does sell. You know, I mean, you in larger cities. Yeah, I used to own 3 little video stores, and in larger cities, they have video store museums and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
nostalgia does well. I was on the elevator here in the Alico building yesterday with a lady that works for Amicable Life, and she had and I know why she had it on. It was a Dolphins hat and an MTV like windbreaker. Right, and it's because the colors matched, right? That's why she had it on. But I said, "Hey, that jacket, that's going to be worth something." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "MTV, they shut it down. You know, it's not going to be
done.
a thing anymore." She goes, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
and she
MTV's
was like,
done.
"Yeah, I need to go home, take this off, and put it up." You know, because it was just MTV all over it.
Yeah, MTV's over with.
I don't know, man. I just think.
Do you think that noise bothers that guy, that Blockbuster guy, that ta-dum?
Oh,
You
well,
think
I know
that
it
haunts
bothers
him?
me. I can't imagine if I passed on it. Yeah, I bet it
I
bugs.
bet
the crap
you. I
out of
bet
him.
you he's just driving to the store or something,
Uh-huh.
and it just
It
hits him.
says
Just
it's probably
ta-dum
his
in
version
his
of
ear.
tinnitus. It just happens in his ears over and over and over.
Just real quiet.
Ta-dum,
Ta-dum.
ta-dum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This could have been a world ruled by Blockbuster. It
Well, you
could
know,
have.
and Burger
It
King.
very well
See,
could have.
all right, I just got through reading
That's right, he punches
the
a
Burger
wall every
King's
time he hears it.
founders book, like I was telling you last
Yeah.
week. And Burger
love those
King
stories, by the way.
literally could have died.
Yeah.
Burger King could have completely faded away into non-existence. So, in the '60s, in their rise, they had a problem with cash. They had a
Mhm.
problem. They were always trying
Yeah.
to find money and
Yeah.
funding and stuff like that on their rise up. Like the CEO, the guy that wrote the book, was only paying himself like $32,000 a year. That's a lot of money for the '60s,
Sure.
but for a CEO of a company that has 500 or 600 different stores, that's not very much. And he even said in the book, he said me and the guy that he was helped building it with, they said that they both took less money because they were more worried about building the brand than they were about paying their pockets. They were more worried about making sure the franchisees were taken care of and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So they ended up selling the company to Pillsbury.
Okay.
And when they sold it to Pillsbury, Pillsbury had this traditional business vision that just doesn't work for Burger King. Burger King had a specific business model, and it was similar to McDonald's model, but McDonald's at the time was killing the real estate market. And right now, it's still the largest, and it might even be international now and not just national.
Largest
but
landholder.
I know in the United States for commercial, they own the most commercial property in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing. So Burger King tried to copy their model, but Pillsbury just didn't believe in that model of buying the land and doing the land. So what they would do is a developer would buy the developer owned the land.
Yeah.
The developer would then pay to have the property developed and have the Burger King built, and then there was a structured contract to where the money from the business would eventually go back to them. They would get paid out, in time, kind of thing, with through the business, and that's how their business model was. But a lot of it, Pillsbury started doing corporate stores and stuff like that, where that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to franchisee it all out and everything, and it almost failed. They had a lot of. Do you remember Herb the Nerd or something like that? There was like this horrible campaign.
It was Herb, yeah. He was
something like that.
He was like a guy who didn't know anything about burgers or something like that, yeah.
And what it was is they had this campaign where
it was rough.
If he popped up in the store, that like everybody in the store would get something.
Yeah.
So they thought that people would go to Burger King based on the fact that this guy was supposed to he might be there. So they had 600-700 stores or so, or thousands of stores at that point. The guy could only be in one store at a time, so like it really didn't drive any customers.
When I was a kid, Burger King was a big deal because they were the place.
No, Burger King isn't dying anymore. It was. Burger King is the number 2 burger in the international market.
They were a place where you got the cool prizes. So, like when Star Wars came out, that's where you got the glasses, the collector's glasses.
Yeah.
When the Disney stuff came out, a lot of the times it was at Burger King, not at McDonald's.
Yeah.
So McDonald's saw all that, and they went nuts, and they bought up all those partnerships, and that's how you got the Happy Meals. That's how you got all the toys that you did. Burger
that's
King
really
kinda
what
fights
revived
for that
a lot
now.
of Burger King. That was the chicken sandwich was like their big thing. Once they started
Chicken Sandwich Wars, never forget.
Yeah, once they started kind of doing a little bit of innovation, it was like in the late 80s, they had like a new change in like management, and the guy that changed it, he just was focused on what needed to be done, and they kind of revived
it's kind of like the guy who's taken over for Red Lobster now. That guy came in, and he has saved that franchise, brand, and they are really starting. They get number one, they got rid of unlimited shrimp or whatever it was. They got rid of that.
Well, what they all need to get away from too is the frozen shit.
Yeah,
but they'll never get away from that.
Yeah.
That's a business model.
Well,
that's the thing with Burger King too. Is they created They created 3 separate businesses when they were first starting out to support the Burger King business.
Burger King did?
Burger King.
Okay.
They created a construction company.
Oh.
To
build their
own stores. So the guy that was already building their stores, they went to him with a contract, said, "Can we do this? I think it was shares or something they gave him in the business, or they paid him X amount of money in the contract." So they set that up. That's called like First Construction or First Florida Construction or something like that was the name of that company.
Okay.
Then they started a kitchen equipment company. So the original Burger King was called Insta Burger King.
I remember that.
2 guys that started it.
Yeah.
Well, those guys ended up selling all the rights to the guy that wrote this book. His name's James McLemore or something like that. I can't remember his name exactly.
He loves thrift shops.
But they sold the Insta Burger King. They were doing franchises, and that guy ended up buying all the stores they had and buying the rights to Burger King and dropped the Insta. But they had this thing called the Insta Broiler. Yeah, I know a ton of Burger Kings that close, but they do that. They close in markets that don't succeed.
He's got
and
the
then
Lord
they
of the Ring
build
goblets.
stores in markets that do. Burger King is the number 2 international chain for burgers. They fight with Wendy's. It goes
Boyga.
back and forth between them.
Boyga.
But they started the kitchen equipment. So the Insta Burger King, their whole shtick was the Insta broiler and the Insta milkshake machine that they had. So the Insta broiler, the Burger King guy, when he took over it was a inefficient piece of equipment. It always broke down.
Yeah.
So his partner like hit it with a hammer and was like, fuck this piece of equipment. I can make a better one. So they hired machinists and stuff, and they designed their own.
Made their
Well,
own
when they
burger.
made their own, they then turned that into a business, and they started to make their own broilers
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
cool.
And then they started another one for food distribution. So what a lot of companies, a lot of growing pains and fast food companies was, how do we get food continuity across
yeah.
the board? So he started his own food distribution. So
They were able to control those 3 parts
all
of
to be
the
able to control
business
it. Yeah.
and those 3 parts for other businesses.
Which was unprecedented at the
pretty amazing.
time. Which was unprecedented at the time. Well, no, actually, they it wasn't
They
to
love the
support.
BK
It was
knowledge.
only to support Burger King. It wasn't to support
Yeah.
any other businesses. It
Yeah.
was to support all the franchisees. So the franchise owners would then buy the products from Burger
Right,
King.
right.
So they didn't have to go buy their products from mom and pop. They
Yeah.
could buy it all through Burger King.
And that's become a staple for most franchises at this point. You have to buy your stuff
Yeah.
from us,
But
the
eventually,
franchise host.
eventually it phased out because
Yeah.
he allowed them to acquire they could get their own ingredients from somewhere else. They
Yeah.
just had to be matching ingredients.
Yeah.
So eventually, all the franchise owners are so far away, it just doesn't make sense to buy it from him. So
I
it
love
phased out
that kind
eventually,
of. Artie says we had a Burger King on his campus that was part of the business program teaching kitchen, restaurant management, hospitality franchise. That's cool. I love those kind of stories. Like I've said this before, and I've told Rusty several times.
Yeah, you watched
the
that stuff
movie
on
The
the-
Founder.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that movie. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a good
Well, they
representation
knew each
of
other
what
too.
happened. Yeah.
Ray
Mhm.
Kroc and the Burger King guy,
Yeah.
they knew each other because they were competing in the same market.
Yeah.
And Ray Kroc really he you could almost say he's a crook the way he did those two guys.
He
I
did.
mean,
Yeah.
he did them kind of dirty, but that's just business because there was a aggressive takeover of Pillsbury
Mm.
in the 80s, I think it was, and it was by it was one of the 4th largest firms in England at the time. I can't Grand Metropolitan or something out of
Okay.
London was the name of the company, something like that. But they came in and did an aggressive takeover of everything, and that's when Burger King was taken from Pillsbury, and then that's when they had their growth. And
I
that's
was
the
in a
reason
box that he's
why
never
we know
wanted
they are.
Burger King so much as
Yeah,
right now.
Burger
Yeah.
King's one of my favorite burgers. I
you
really,
guys-
I'm a big fan of broiled burger. I
You
like
remember the Burger
heat.
King video games?
Yes, I do.
Sneak King.
I've got them.
Yeah,
I've got
those Xbox games.
I've
Those
got
were-
them on 360. Yeah, I
Those were
have
terrible games, but
I
they were
have the
great at the
sneaking
same
one.
time.
No,
yeah.
it was a great marketing tool.
Yeah, where you can be like Burger King and hiding that trash can.
It was a
and stuff.
phenomenal marketing tool. That whole King marketing tool.
Yeah.
put
Oh, I
them-
love that. I wish they
it
still
really-
did the
it
King.
really did a
The
lot
King
for
was
them.
great. He was creepy and weird and great.
The Crown and all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Like that
It was
really
great
that helped their
stuff.
brand. That was good
Yeah.
branding. It was good marketing.
Well, guys,
I'm
that's.
gonna read the Wendy's documentary or the Wendy's book next. And
Yeah.
next week we'll talk.
I would
about
love to. I would
Wendy's.
love to hear about that. Yeah, just fast food. You're just gonna get all the fast food knowledge. Guys, thank you for being patient with us. Like I said, it's just been a heck of a week, and
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the variety show here.
yeah, enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the non sequitur talk. But we love you, and we appreciate you being here.
And Burger King made $27 billion in 2024.
Oof.
So there you go.
I made like a very small fraction of that.
Yeah, very, very small.
Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for being here. We will be back on Monday. Thank you so much, Artie. We'll be back on Monday with my mom was in the hospital, all kinds of stuff.
More
But,
fast food. Yeah.
We'll be back Monday, and we'll get back into it. And I'm going to get ahead of myself with a bunch of these scripts. So we will see you guys next time. But you want to tell them where they can find us if they need to?
Yeah, if you like this episode and you want more episodes like this,
This episode.
go ahead and drop us an email at bwaaaakoth@gmail.com and let me and Mike know if you would
Yeah.
like to hear me and Mike talk about stuff that's
More
not
fast
King
food.
of the Hill, whether it's just anything, whatever you want to hear us talk about. I'm a wealth of
Tell us how much you love this
trivial
shot.
knowledge.
This shot is awful.
I've also got some weird German knowledge to end it with. So just to wrap this up and get out of here because the studio's got to be wrapped up
Yeah.
for another show. So
Pete Sousa on his way in.
yeah, so the quick fact about Germans in Texas.
Yeah.
Germans in Texas were they're actually the only group of Europeans to never violate a treaty that they made with a Native American group.
Oh, wow. Huh.
They made a treaty with a group of Comanches, and they never broke the treaty. The treaty existed up until Texas became a part of the United States, and the United States did what they do. Also, they were very against slavery. They were abolitionists, if anything, and they were against conscription. So the Confederates came down to Texas to say, hey, it's time for y'all to go to war.
Right.
The Texas Germans actually fought. There was actually a skirmish between Texas Germans and the Confederate Army. They were massacred, but they fought against them to stand up for their principles.
Amazing.
It was called the Massacre at Nueces.
Okay.
Nueces, if y'all want to read about that. There you go.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. I think you're more well-rounded individuals now for having listened to this. Either that or you're dumber, one or the other. Rusty,
Bar trivia experts, if nothing else.
Let's get the hell out of here. One thing left to say.
Weema Tanya.
Weema Tanya indeed, guys. See you later. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.